This is going to be an update on Spire Global, ticker symbol SPIR. The earnings are coming out tomorrow, and I'm super pumped, super excited right after CPI day. So, volatility after volatility, right? Now, currently they're at the $12.50 mark as of recording this. I told you, I said things. I said when it was at 980, when I said it was like 10 something, I was like, yo, it's really cheap. You might wanna look into it. It's pretty cheap, in my opinion, not financial advice. But what you gonna do? I still think it's kind of cheap. Anyways, what do I expect from their ER? So, I mean, honestly, I just expect them to be, I think they're constantly firing on all cylinders, all triangles, all squares, every shape under the rainbow. They're firing on everything. And so I can't really guess numerically, just because a lot of their deals, they omit a lot of the numbers in a lot of their deals and a lot of their contracts. Just because it's a contract thing, the people that they work with or the companies that they work with don't want other companies knowing. They don't want to show their hand, right? Same thing as when you're applying to jobs and you have an offer. You don't want to show how much you're getting offered by another company. You just want to tell them, oh, I want more, right? Same thing with this. Although there's no numeric value or nothing like number-wise that I can really touch upon, I think that there are two or three things that are really important to keep in mind going into this ER. Number one, Spire Global recently did a multi-million-dollar deal for an AI weather predicting kind of like thing, right? That happened in Q2, even though it was multi-million-dollar, right? So that's a lot of money. But that happened in Q2, not Q1. You have to remember that, right? So Q1 will not be included in Q1's numbers. But something that we do include that we didn't previously have in mind that we didn't previously think that we could include was in Q4 they actually had a delayed launch, right? Where a launch that was supposed to happen in Q4 actually occurred in Q1. That means that we actually get that extra boost in Spire Global's Q1 forecast, or in Spire Global's Q1 numbers, to accommodate for that launch that was delayed from Q4. The coolest thing about that is in Q4, their earnings, their numbers were spectacular, and even though that project ended up being shifted from Q4 to Q1. So even though they lost that project in Q4, they still beat expectations. They hit adjusted EBITDA. They hit a positive operating cash flow. Freaking amazing. And this, no one knows about this company. What the heck? Next thing we have to remember is in Q1, Spire Global also got about a $40 million cash injection into their balance sheet. They did two direct offerings, one at $12 a share, back when the stock was at $8 a share, so for a 50% markup. Remember that, I talked about this earlier. And number two, at $14 a share for another $30 million total amount. With the $40 million, they can pay off their debts, they can use that money to keep growing, they can look for more contracts, right? So that's really important. Maybe they can, and with that money, they'll be able to increase the bottom line. They'll be able to add that money to the bottom line and reduce any debts, maybe earn interest on it, which is really bullish. And definitely, I don't really want them to earn interest on it. I want them to use that money to grow. So I wouldn't mind seeing that money just vanish and seeing them grow. With the latter $30 million deal, I did want to touch upon this, which makes me kind of question what will happen to the stock. Not necessarily the company. I think the company will continue firing on all cylinders, but the stock price will make me kind of confused as to what to expect. So, in that $30 million direct offering, there is an addendum for the for the company that is buying those 2.1 million shares. They have 100 days to buy an additional 2.1 million shares for another 30 some odd million dollars, right? Now, what I expect to happen, right? Tinfoil hat on. I think that what happened was basically, like, it just didn't make sense, right? Why would, after a $14 direct offering, why would the stock crash down to $9, $80, $10? That makes no sense. Immediately after. What I think happened was, whoever wants to buy the stock, they want to buy as many shares as they can. They want to accumulate as many shares as they can under $14.50. And then, basically, if they can buy all the shares they want under $14.50, then they don't need to do that deal. But they do have that hedge, so it really does benefit the underlying company that bought the shares at $14 to buy even more shares down here rather than up at 1450. Now regarding this 1450 number, I think this number could be really important going after earnings, right? After the earnings numbers come out, beat or miss or whatever, I think there's going to be three things that might happen. If the stock price stays under 1450, then in that case, then it would give this, I think that this company will continue kind of trying to push the stock down to be able to accumulate more and more shares, right? And then number two, if the stock jumps up to $20 or jumps up above 1450, in that case, then it makes all the sense in the world that this company that is guaranteed to buy these shares at 1450, why would they not short the stock, right? Basically, so this 1450 direct offering thingy happened. They have the right to buy these shares until sometime in June, like June 9 or 10ish, right? 100 days after the March deal. So if they were to just short the shares at a really high price, right? And let's say after the earnings report it goes to 20, right? Just for an even number. If the stock price goes to $20, they can just short 2.1 million shares at $20, and then they can just buy it back at 1450. So even if they're wrong, right? And then the stock price goes up to like $30, they still have this ace in the hand. They still have this ace in the hand to be able to buy shares at 1450. So they just get guaranteed profit. In this case, they just get a free 30% profit for nothing, right? Because they can immediately just turn around. Okay, well, we'll just exercise that option to buy more shares at 1450. The $5.50 profit per share. That's like 30 some, almost 40% profit if my math is right. I do want to just like put it out there. If the stock price does spike, although I'm a super bull, right? I do recommend, like, it's never wrong to take profits, right? If you think it's a sizable amount, if you're happy with it, go ahead, like, take profits, right? Especially if it spikes up, right? If it gradually grows, then I might not take profits. But if it just spikes up, like, don't be afraid to take profits, right? Don't marry a stock. I really like this company. I really love the company, but the company and the company's stock price are two different things, right? I can be really bullish on the company. And then the stock price might not reflect that, right? The stock price might overperform the company and it might underperform the company, right? So it's just up to you to kind of pick when to sell, when to buy. Just whenever you're happy with the profits, feel free to trim, right? I'll be doing the same thing. Don't marry the stock. Don't be like ape together strong and just hold AMC to the ground. Why are people investing in AMC? At least GME, at least they make profit. At least they have something in the bank. Isn't AMC like $4 billion or like $1 billion in debt or some shit like that? Come on. What the heck? Anyways, so I just wanted to do this update video on Spire Global. Really bullish on it. I know they're gonna exceed all expectations. Oh, third thing. So the other thing is, if the company does have spectacular earnings and it attracts other institutional buyers, then that will really be able to hold the stock. So that's something that could be really bullish, seeing as like they already basically got the attention of Nvidia, right? I'm sure that other institutions definitely have Spire Global on their radar. It's just deciding whether or not to make the move and go into Spire Global, right? So yeah, so those are just kind of three of the possibilities I see for Spire Global and for the stock price. Regardless, I do think that they're firing on all cylinders. They do have like a moat that other companies don't, which is this data moat that I keep talking about. Just investing in companies that have good, really unique, really highly like value, like very valuable data. I think that's the next step in AI. That's the next like thing to invest in for AI. First it was chips. Now I think it's data. You need to train the models, and you need data to train the models, right? Those are my thoughts. I'm super excited for tomorrow. After CPI. Super excited for tomorrow, ER. Have a good one.